So, here are some tips about flower photography. And I will show you the pictures and then we can discuss the pictures if you want. Shooting at eye level is boring. I see people when we go, my wife and I go walking a lot. We live around a nature preserve area. So we walk our dogs and there's wildflowers all over the place. There's tulips now, either coming up or ready to fall. You see the people walking around and just taking a picture and then walking away, right? Almost eye level. And then as a photographer, you kind of cringe inside, right? It's like, oh, really? But it all, I just had an audit at work, and one of the FDA requirements, and this is a legal term, is the intent of use of the product. Okay, intent of use is a very strict federal legal term. And when you think about it, it works for that person, right? If their intent is just to take a picture, to remember that walk for themselves, to go back to look at it, to show their husband or whatever, it's their personal thing. They're not going to put effort in making it interesting, fantastic. It's just they're taking a picture of a moment that's occurring. So their intent of use is perfect of just snapping and walking away. Some of us that love taking interesting pictures, we go a farther level than that, right? Not just taking a picture and walking away. So I always have to remember internally to stop doing that when I see people doing that. Okay, shooting at eye level is boring. Short story. When I was an assistant interning at the Air Force in Washington, D.C., national competition, I was in my service uniform. I walk up to the public affairs office. I go, hey, can I take some pictures of the event and I'll bring you the pictures? And they go, sure, absolutely. Take as many pictures as you want, bring us your pictures, and then we'll get to use it. 3-4 day event. I was with the team I was helping out, plus I took pictures of all 12 teams that were there. After this event, at the end of the event, I go back to the public affairs office, still in my service dress uniform. I give them the pictures, and I'm like, here you go. And the major kind of looks at me, goes, nah, we're good. Wow, okay, thanks. And I'm kind of walking away. I'm like, are you sure? I mean, I took a lot of pictures of all these teams. You sure not want to say, no, we're good, thanks. I'm like, okay, here I am, a lonely lieutenant. The major's telling me to get the heck out of his office. How do I handle this? So I go, sir, can you at least tell me why you don't want to see my pictures? He goes, sure, son, come over here. He goes, look at you. You're in the service dress and they're perfectly clean. I bet you wore that uniform for 3-4 days straight. I go, yes, I did, sir. He goes, did you ever get on the floor? Did you ever get on the ladder? Did you ever get on the balcony? No, I'm in uniform. He goes, that's why I don't want your photos. Because you took all the photos at eye level, where everyone's been taking pictures. I want something unique. I want close up. I want looking up at the team. I want looking down from the fly. I want stuff that everyone else doesn't give me. Wow, that is some interesting knowledge he just mentored me with, right? So then I took that back, and 10 years of doing public affairs for the Air Force, none of my pictures, I don't wear my service dress uniform anymore in those events because I know I will be on the floor getting dirty. And and all my photos are online, and it's interesting to see the transfiguration over the 10 years of how they change, from just taking cadets pictures at eye level versus a lot more interesting stuff, close-ups of their uniform IDs and pictures from above with the flags and the C-130s in the background. Just total transformation from a major that was a little bit too cocky for, at the moment, but at least took the moment to tell me why, and then changed a decade almost of picture taking. So that's exactly with flowers. Again, I have a big backyard. We have lots of flowers everywhere. So you see myself or my wife, usually on the ground, in awkward positions, trying to take pictures of these flowers. And it makes it really interesting. I'm not a flower expert. I'm not going to pretend I know what all these flowers are. I just know they grow in my backyard. But this one's obviously a very beautiful one. And as you can see, rather than and I think they all come clustered as they grow. And rather than just taking a picture of the cluster that you see even on seed pad, the seed packets, Get up close. I think this is done with a macro. I'm not sure if you can even see it there, but you can see the little hairs inside the plant itself, which was really, really cool. And again, you don't get to see it eye level. You know, you got to get down on the ground and take a look at that. Here is the actual picture. So it was shot with my 105 macro at f/16. A lot, not a lot. I'd say half my photography is done with a macro lens or just up close, and half of my photography isn't. I'll show you different variations of all that. But this was with a macro lens because once I noticed the beautiful stuff inside those pods, you know, I got down low and I wanted to take a picture of that. Any questions about angles? Isolate the subject. A lot of times, like I was taking a picture for this presentation a few days ago, and I noticed, you know, as I was taking the pictures, my background was lawn chairs, a cat litter box, you know, goofy stuff that even if they're, you know, to some respect they're in the background, they're kind of blurred, I know what they are, right? And they bother me. So if they bother me, I'm not going to show you the pictures, because if you have cats and or lawn furniture in the background, you know exactly what they are. So pay attention to your background. Try to isolate your subject by blurring the background. And we've had classes on aperture and how to change the aperture on your camera to make pictures like this happen. Okay, so be careful of your background. Any questions on isolation? Probably towards the end of the year, we may do another class on the exposure triangle, you know, how to do aperture, speed, and ISO. I think a refresher every year is kind of helpful, so we'll probably cover how to do picture photos like this later on in the year. Do I have the original just to see what it's at? So it's at f9. Again, shot with a macro lens. Oh my God, this is my digital rebel days. Cool. So it's f9 because it's obviously a macro lens. So as you get close with the macro lens, you really need to have a high aperture to get your depth of field more than 1 millimeter. But if you're not using a macro lens, then you're actually going the reverse, right? You're doing a high aperture to try to get a blurred background. Okay, location. In most things photographical, everything is about location. But with flowers, it's not. These are my neighbor's flowers. Literally, I just walked over to his place, took some pictures, they turned out pretty cool. You don't have to get a fancy location. Sure, you know what, end of 2-3 weeks, we can all go to the Botanical Gardens up in Waukegan or Northbrook or wherever they are. Take a lot of beautiful pictures of a lot of beautiful flowers, right? But you don't have to do that. Literally today, I was just walking up and down the river, saw a lot of flowers, you know, around the parks, in planters, lots of beautiful flowers that are open to basically your interpretation, however you want to show them. So location, location, location is really not critical when you're talking about flowers, because flowers are everywhere. You know, we love doing the prairie path, either on bikes or by walking. You know, wildflowers are awesome. And especially, you know, my favorite locations are probably Bluff Spring Fen. For any of you who know that where that is, it's here in Elgin on the east side, right behind Elgin Cemetery, I believe it's called.
Bluff City Cemetery.
I'm sorry?
Bluff City.
Bluff City Cemetery. So you basically, look it up in the map, it's difficult to get to, but you have to go through the cemetery to get to the parking at the end of the cemetery, and then it's a beautiful walk of restored prairie lands and lots of waterways in there, just beautiful. And I try to go there at least once a month because it changes so much. You know, now all the wildflowers are starting to flower, so it's really beautiful. You know, in the winter you have all these huge ancient dark oaks making a really beautiful snowy landscape. So it's a gorgeous place, and right now it is full of butterflies. So try to go, and as you walk in, you want to go to the left, right behind the hill, and just stand there on a beautiful day with your camera. That's all you have to do, just stand there. And literally you will be encompassed by butterflies. The big monarch butterflies among all the plants. It is quite beautiful. I could have brought you 5 million pictures of butterflies. That's not what today was about.
Thank you for our statue.
I'm sorry?
I love butterflies. Butterflies are my...
Oh yeah, we'll do one on insects, I think, later in the year. I love butterflies too. Most insects, praying mantises I really love. But yeah, I love butterflies. So, there you go. Okay, so stroll down the riverfront, go to the park. Again, even in your neighborhood. A couple of days ago, I literally just walked to my neighbor's yard. He had these tulips up, and they're quite interesting. And then, of course, the whole idea was, getting on the ground. My neighbor was at home, taking a picture, trying different angles, trying different. There was a tree that his mailbox was really close. I didn't want the mailbox in the background, right? So you gotta walk around and do different things to basically get a cool picture that you like enough to show other people. Right? And does anyone know other locations around Elgin that would have beautiful flowers around that? I mean, any nature preserve?
Along the river.
Just along the riverfront. I don't know of any other nature preserves that would have as much compactness of flowers as the fen does. The fen is just compact because it's the prairie restoration that they did. Just put everything in one small area, which is really beautiful. Okay. Get up close. I love macro photography. For those of you that were here for the macro presentation, I love macro photography because it just gives you a total different interpretation of what you see every day. This is a butterfly bush, I believe, that grows in my backyard every year. Draws a lot of butterflies. It's not, I know they grow into huge bushes. Mine is not that big, it's only about yo big. Kind of stringy, and at the end of this string that leans over, it has this flower. And then this flower is about, banana size, if you will, and attracts all the butterflies. It's very beautiful, but then and I never know, and I thought it was a cool flower, right? You sit out in the backyard, you're enjoying the cool flower, looking at the butterflies and hummingbirds go to it. Until one day, I actually looked close up onto it and noticed this cool banana-shaped flower is actually made up of all these cool little flowers. So it's not a flower that I thought it was for a decade living in Elgin. It's actually all these little cool flowers all together making this strand of a flower in this butterfly bush. And I would never notice that until one day I just took a really close-up picture. So it turned out really cool, and as you can see, it was also, I think this was rain. It wasn't self-induced water. I think it was actually after rain, which was really cool. So get up close. You don't have to have a macro lens, right? You can have any lens that will give you enough magnification and get close enough to take a close picture and then look it up on your screen, right? The little screen you have on your camera doesn't do much justice. You have to look it up on your laptop, your monitor, whatever you use to actually see the details of what you took.
All natural light?
I'm sorry?
All natural light?
Yes. Until this year, I almost always shot with natural lights. And I say this year because I bought that cheap ring light that I brought a couple of, or last month or 2 months ago. So I want to try that. And actually I did try that on the copy that you'll see. But yeah, all natural lights. I prefer cloudy, so I don't get harsh shadows. And I generally stabilize the flower, and we'll go into stabilization in a minute. Okay. Okay, another get up close. This is a sunflower in my backyard. Again, when you look at the sunflower, big, beautiful yellow or yellowish orange flower part with the petals. All these birds come to it, all the butterflies come to it. It looks gorgeous. And then you take a really close-up look, and this is what you see. Again, it's composed of all these tiny little flowers that makes that big round thing that we think of the sunflower. And again, I would have never noticed that unless I looked at it with, at least, even with your eye, it's hard to tell. just looking at it close. It's hard to tell. You really need a nice close-up lens and then blow it up so you get a vision like that, and you're like, oh, that's what it looks like. Okay. Keep it steady. I lost my plant. Sure, it's not lost. I'm sure I put it in a safe place. I just don't recall where that safe place is at. A clamp is a plant clamp. Okay. Lots of versions of this exist. I think I bought this at Amazon for $30, maybe less. And it is basically a stake, a plastic stake that goes in the ground, a cool little arm that can twist and turn in whatever direction you want, and then a little plastic clamp at the end that you clamp onto a flower, or you steady the flower up against. You don't have to actually use the clamp. It's a very low pressure clamp, but it's at an angle, so you can literally use it to steady the flower. I find it valuable. As you can see, you can use it for light deflectors and other things. You know, if it's very sunny, you can deflect or isolate the sun when you're taking a picture. So a lot of usefulness. Was in my case last year, not in my case anymore. So I either lent somebody or someone borrowed it, or it's in a very safe location somewhere. But look up clamp at Amazon. I don't know if ProChem carries them. I didn't see it on their website, but maybe they do carry them. They come in all different shapes, sizes, capabilities. They go anywhere from $20 to $200 for the really, really fancy ones. They said this one was about $30 and it's one of the cooler ones because it allows you to twist and turn that neck anywhere you want, and it helps a lot. I have poppies growing in my front lawn, and if you are aware of poppies, they're very, very delicate flowers. Even a soft wind makes it shake way too much to take a picture. So my first poppy came out, my wife was all over it taking pictures of it because we both love poppies, and that's when I looked for my plant and couldn't find it. So I had to improvise. I don't think I took a picture of the improvisation. No, I didn't. So I had to improvise, and I used basically a hanger, a steel hanger, put in the ground, and then if you can imagine, this is the poppy, just lean it up against, so at least the flower, body has somewhere to lean on, so it doesn't move too much against the wind. Because again, it's so delicate that even just a whisper of a wind makes it move too much to really take a picture of. Okay. Any question on clamps? I know it's a fancy name. If you do that search on Amazon, you get tons of results. I think this is one of the easy ones that comes out. They're very nice. White angle. Morton Arboretum. One of the pictures up there. These are daffodils. They are around this lake. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of daffodils that come out, just like poppies. They don't, or tulips. They don't last very long. They're only up for a few days and then they're gone. So it's a matter of catching them at the right time. And you know, in this picture, it was windy. I remember this was a few years ago. So I had to sit there with my tripod ready for the wind to die down long enough so I don't get like waves in the lake and stuff, which looked obnoxious. It's still not as smooth water as I would like. You would have more clear reflections in the water if that were the case. It didn't happen that day. As you can see, storm clouds were coming in. So, but I picked this picture and I gave it to the Arboretum and they loved it. They put it on their website. So lots of fun things you can do at the Arboretum, just like in the Botanical Gardens. They don't have as many flowers, obviously, but the daffodils on the west end of the Arboretum around this little lake grow, as you can see everywhere, and it makes a lot of beautiful pictures with it. So I always keep a wide angle and my macro. Wide angle and macro when I go shooting flowers, and by wide I mean, you know, somewhere less than 50 millimeters, right? Anything less than standard 50 millimeters will be considered wide. I'm going to guess this is my 24 millimeter. Okay, so that's a wide angle. This is probably cropped. Yeah, it is cropped because you can barely start seeing the building crop here, and then it gets much more obnoxious. So it is a bit cropped. I love water. I want to introduce the plants. This, I believe I sprinkled it. I used the mister to actually sprinkle this iris. Yes, this iris in my backyard. Again, very close up, very interesting view. It looks like a monster, some sort of a wild insect or something. And that's kind of what I like about flower photography, up close flower photography is. It almost looks like that praying mantis I got pictures of. But anyway, the cool thing is in the drop, you can see the reflections of the, who's a flower expert here, what are these called?
Stamens.
Stamens? Okay, so in the drop itself, you can see the reflections of the stamens, which was really cool. Taking a picture like this, again, study the flower if there's any wind at all. Natural light, I didn't do anything with the light. Camera on a tripod, a macro lens, and get as close as you can. Okay? And when you're using a macro lens and you're this close, your aperture is f/16 or something crazy, or else you'd see even less of the stamens. But you want enough, because this is what, at this plane which is focused on, probably this is only 3 millimeters, but you still need a huge aperture to grab all that when you're this close to an object with a macro lens. Okay? I love the water. I have a little mister that I tease my cats with. That does really good with flowers. This was actually after a rainstorm. Again, in my backyard, these will start popping up in about 2 weeks. And then the whole garden goes crazy with these things. Lots of butterflies start coming. They only last for a few days and then they're gone, unfortunately. But we do have a huge variety of these in the backyard. And again, right after a rainstorm, and I try to take tons and tons of pictures of all different angles and views and try to make something that looks interesting rather than, an eye level picture of it. Yeah, you'll see my ugly looking deck. It doesn't look good. So I cropped a lot of that out. I got down low. You don't see the deck at all in the background. And just show you a lot of the beautiful color of the plant itself. Okay, it makes it a lot more interesting of a picture. Be creative. Flower photography lets you be as creative as you want to be, which is the cool thing, right? Again, close-up shots. This isn't really, it's a cone flower, but it's not really that close. Close enough, I guess. Cone flowers start with cool colors and then turn brown as they mature over the weeks. So it's nice to get them while the seed parts are still rather young because they have all these cool colors associated with them. Again, this is a bluebell, I think it's called. They grow like wildflowers in the backyard, perennials. They're very beautiful. They're even more sensitive than poppies, so they don't last very long. After they pop out, they're gone the next day because cats or squirrel ran through it or whatever. So try to be creative. Once you take a picture, then you're looking at the picture in your monitor and you go, oh, what if I zoom in here? Or what if I look at that? Or these are the natural colors of the actual picture, but I zoomed in so enough you can see the, it's not called seeds, pollen, thank you. You can see the pollen had fallen off of it. And I saw that not visually with my eye, but I saw that I was looking at the photos. I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. And I got there and I took an even closer picture. And I was lucky that the flower was still there, uninterrupted. And I got the little specks there. And that was what I saw when I was looking through them. And I was able to capture what I saw in my mind's eye. So that's the cool fact about being creative. And again, this, doesn't even, unless you knew it was a close-up of a cone flower, you have, kind of like, what the heck is that? And most cone flowers get very dark heads very quickly as the seeds are about to burst. So it only lasts a few days that they're actually different colors like this. So be creative. Flower photography allows you to be very, very creative. And again, I take pictures of close-ups or different angles, look at them on my monitor, and then it's like, I wonder if I do this. And then I go back out to where the flower is, take some more pictures. All right, so let me show you some pictures. here it, sharp, your dandelion. But I was trying to do a different aperture. So this is, as you can see, over on the right hand, bottom right corner, it's f3.5. This is f2, f3.2, f5.6. Notice my yucky background is now starting to become quite evident, even going, quarter or half a stop. So when I was at at f2, no, where's my f2? Here, you can't see really what's in the background, right? It's so blurred at f2, you can't see it. The downside of it, though, obviously I'm focused in front of the dandelion head. Notice that even the top of the head is not in focus, okay? One of the attributes of having a very shallow depth of field. But my garbage in the back you don't get to see, right? It's not, it doesn't come to your eye real quickly. But as you increase the aperture to get more, this is what, 3.2? So to get more of the curvature of the seed pod, or whatever this is called, my background's coming into focus. So it's like, oh! But I thought it was cool to show, again, I'm, as you can see, way low on the ground, right? I don't have it steady. This was a windless day, so it was just on the grass. Again, this is at 5.6 now. Now I can see the entire ball beautifully in focus, but now you see all my garbage, right? They're all starting to pop and distract you from what I'm trying to show you. That was the big thing. Now I'm trying to concentrate on this and show this, and what I was noticing is my junk in the background becoming far too distracting. I'm like, oh, this is a good thing to show. So, pay attention to those kind of things. This is at 5.6. This is at f8. You can start seeing my lawn ornaments coming into view now. More of the dandelion head is in focus, which is a great thing, but now you see my goblin there, whatever, my gnome back there. And at f13, yeah, it's kind of useless. All right, so same thing, here's my poppy. Now, one of these pictures is with the ring lens. And let's see if I can show it. Maybe I don't have it, but I'm looking, this poppy is obviously just a foot off the ground. I did have to, oh, you can see it, you can see the wires steadying it, because they're very, very fragile. They move a lot. In orange is the first one we get. We have a number of them in the front yard. Orange is the first one. It's very beautiful. It's very, very delicate. It's probably not, this is day before yesterday. I'm going to guess it's not there today because it's that delicate of a flower. So I'm looking, my camera is on a tripod. I'm looking straight down into it. And it was my 60mm Nikon macro, so it was not expensive micro by any means. Manual focus there. And I took one picture. And the darker parts, again, this is natural light, the darker parts were more dark. Then I put the ring light, the $40 ring light I showed you last month. And then it really, maybe all of these, all right, and I throw in the dark ones. But then you can really see less shadow inside the flower. So it did work out really well. Okay, so it was really nice. This is Bluff Spring Fen. This was a number of years ago. Well, more than a number, over almost a decade ago. This photo was published on a website, and coneflowers are one of the main flowers that grows at Bluff Spring Fen. And they haven't been there yet this year, so I'll go this weekend. For a while, they're inundated, and this is why all the butterflies come, because they love these things. So literally, you can stand there and be surrounded by monarch butterflies, and you just snap the pictures you want. It's very beautiful. Also at Bluff Spring Fen, again, stand there long enough, and usually on a nice day, partly cloudy, because you want the sun, because the sun agitates the butterflies and they're very active, right? So you want sun, but you want clouds to be able to take beautiful photography, right? So you want partly cloudy. But the sun agitates them, so they're much more active. Standing there long enough, you get to be really, really super lucky and take a picture like this. And I love when I'm doing this and you see, younger photographers trying to take pictures of butterflies or big bumblebees, and they're doing this. And you just kind of sit there and laugh. Because remember your days when you used to do that too. Come on, we all did that. Until someone actually told you, don't follow the insect, concentrate on the flower, and let the insect come to the flower and snap the picture, right? And I was taking a flower photo. Honest, I was taking a flower photo. And he or she just came right along into my picture, and it's like, bam, what luck, right? But again, Love Spring Friend is just full of butterflies and bumblebees and just everything when all the flowers are up in these next few weeks. So it's a beautiful place just to hang out with. And there's also conservatory areas. You'll see a lot of plant conservation folks there from the colleges and stuff. It's a beautiful place. Let's see, so I showed you all these photos. This is Lilac Fest. So Lombard, Illinois, which is not too far from here, maybe 30 minutes southeast of here, does their Lilac Fest, and I think it's this coming weekend, or it's during the week, because it's a whole parade for the village and everything. And they have Lilacia Park right in the center of Lombard. And it's full of lilacs and tulips and just beds of beautiful things for you to take a photograph of. On a beautiful day, it's packed of photographers. We're literally tripping over each other, but it's but it's an open park, so you can walk in, walk out. I think you pay $2 or $3 or whatever, but you can bring a tripod and take beautiful pictures. In a wider angle, got my butt down to the ground. I love the contrast between the greens and the reds. Right? That's what I was going for. The big contrast between the reds and the greens. So I took a really cool picture. They have literally sections and fields of different tulips. So you can concentrate on whatever color tulips you want. And then behind the tulips are these huge lilac bushes. So the place smells amazing. But it's a fun place to be at.
Hey James, it's Sunday, May 15th at 1:30.
That's where it's at, yes. That's where the
Lombard Lilac Festival parade starts.
Oh, the parade, yes. So the parade is this coming weekend, and you can go to the park any day. And walk into the park and take pictures. Again, these tulips don't last very long. Tulips are only blooming for about a week or two, and then they're gone. So it's worth the drive to get out there. It's a very beautiful place. Let's see. Okay, another tulip at the neighbor's house, trying to take a picture. And again, this is me trying to take different, I saw the flower, I saw interest, I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it. So this is me on the ground, taking different pictures. I was shooting with, this is not a macro lens. I wish I had an f1.8 macro lens. That'd be awesome. And that would be $20,000. So it's not a macro lens, it's just a standard, I think it's my 50mm f1.8, standard Nikon $80 lens, right? Nothing special. I was just walking around taking pictures. And this is, this is an uncropped shot. This is a shot right out of the camera. Uncropped shot, 75mm at f1.8. Just took a picture of it with the camera I had in hand. Kind of looks silly being on the ground, but it doesn't matter. You can see all different angles, all different apertures. I knew it was cool. I just couldn't see what I wanted. I think I just kind of gave up after all. But you can see the differences in the apertures. Now we're at f8. So the difference between f1.8, which is the widest aperture of this lens. Okay, as you can see, it's huge, 1/1000th speed, so you can hand hold it at that speed. So at f1.8 with this standard lens, taking a picture of this, notice how beautiful the background is. All right, you don't get to see the background is grass, as you saw me flipping through, but you don't get to see the grass. You just see beautiful green in the background that is really isolating your subject of this flower. But as I was increasing the aperture of this lens, we're at f2.8, we're at 5.6, you can see more and more of the grass come into view. Here's f8 and so forth. So, and again, these lenses are not expensive. Let's see, I have one other series. I love irises. These are not irises, these are lilies. I love lilies. I think this one is an oriental lily. I have black ones and different color ones and just beautiful flowers. I love coneflowers. This is at Bluff Spring Fen. Take your lilies and go up close. Just beautiful things you get to see. That's my copy. Okay, all my pictures are not great, okay? I am human, I take bad pictures like all of us do. We just don't get to show them. But that's part of the funness, right? So, what's wrong here? What's my mistake here? Motion, right? And focus. It's not in focus as the plant's moving. I mean, this is a very, very delicate plant. Even just blowing on it, breathing on it makes it move. I was really upset that I couldn't find my plant. So, this thing moved so much. I got my daughter, Jody, come and hold it. Of course, an 8-year-old's attention span on holding a flower for her dad taking pictures like 0. So then I went in the house and got a.
When I look at your shutter speed, even at 1,000th of a second.
Yes.
You would think that would be enough to stop it.
Yep, but no, it's not. Yeah. It was moving enough. Yeah, at high magnification. Yeah. It's moving enough in the wind that it's not going to stop it. Yeah. Because you're just so up close to it. And finally got a hanger, stabilized it, and then I was able to play with the apertures to get the different view I want. And this, my goblin gnome background is back here. So I couldn't get the angles I wanted out of it because it would be more, the background would be more in view. It would be bright reds and bright whites would be too distracting. So without, with your plant, you can delicately put it on here and just kind of turn it just a little bit to turn the head to the angle you want to be able to take a picture of. Obviously, with just a close hanger, you can't do that, right? You're just steadying the flower. You don't have much flexibility. But the plant doesn't have a lot of pressure and allows you to move the flower head a little bit. So, because I really wanted it to take a more side shot, see more of the beautiful orange, but I couldn't because you can see all the garbage in the background. So that's why I love the plant. Of course, like I said, I take bad shots too. Let's see why this happened. Obviously, it's overexposed, right? Because you saw the green tree, the brown tree in the background. So I'm guessing this is at AV. It was just overexposed. Oh, I know why. Yes, it's staring me in the face. Can someone tell me why this shot is overexposed? Yes, exactly right. It is at spot meter. Okay, what that means is it meters only dead center, little circle. Okay, dead center, little circle. That's what it's going to meter on. It ignores everything else. It doesn't care. Dead center, little circle. Guess what a dead center and little circle is? The darkest part of this picture. Right? So it's going to meter just this flower. It doesn't care about anything else. It's going to meter just the flower. And if you just look at just the flower, try to focus it. It's in beautiful exposure, just the flower, right? But I'm not just shooting. I didn't crop the flower out. I gave you the whole bit. Then I'm like looking at it, it's like, what? And then I realized it was at spot. So I had to change spot to take more of the image into account. And simple change from spots to center weighted, I think it's called in the Canon world, fancier terms on the Nikon world. That basically means 30 to 50% center or whatever it means, more than just a dot. Okay, it takes the good center circle into your metering. And now since it involves, a lot of this in my metering, now it becomes less overexposed, more truly exposed of what I want. Okay, standard 50 millimeter on my wife's 5300. Oh, maybe it tells you 50 millimeter, 1.8 lens on the 5300, just walking around. Okay. And same stuff. So beautiful flower. All right. Any questions? That is the presentation. Yes.
You do see animals out at the fen also. You have some deer out there, various kinds of wildlife. If you go to the fen when you get done, go home, go to the bathroom, take all your clothes off and inspect yourself for ticks. This place is loaded with ticks because they have deer and the rest of it. The ticks come basically from trees. You walk under branches and brush branches with your hair and everything. And also they have high grasses, which is an area to pick them up. If you do get ticks, it's not a big deal. You just put them off into a little thing of alcohol to get rid of them. If they bite you, go to the doctor and get an antibiotic shot so you don't end up with Lyme disease. It's no big deal, but you gotta do it.
Yeah, it's a very good point. 10, 15 years ago, the grasses didn't grow very high, right? The prairie restoration area was brand new. I think the year before I started going there was the year they actually brought in the prairie ground and the prairie hill. But now, 10, 15 years later, it's 10 feet high, exactly. So it has paths. It has beautiful paths, walkways over the water. I mean, it's a beautiful area, and it has all different parts of the fen that you can walk around. You can see the fen. I'm sure there's a fancy term, but the water origination that spews out of the ground, you can actually go see it. It's got meters in there that they're metering the quantity of water, so it's a fantastic place. But yeah, now 10, 15 years later, the grasses are literally way over your head. You can still see the path, so you can go to the next area to take pictures at. But you are covered in grass while you're walking the trail. So do cautious.
The outside ring is pretty much unencumbered grass, so if you walk around that, you're less likely to pick up ticks and stuff, but you're less likely to see wildlife too.
Yes, and it's I remember a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we had baby raccoons. And if you ever have, encounter baby raccoons, they're the most curious things ever. So you're walking and they'll follow you, figuring out what is going on. And you turn around and they go scurrying, and then you walk and they follow you. And you do this for 3 hours. It's fun. Because they just want to know let's be honest. They want to know what you're going to drop for them to eat. Right? That's why they're following. But they're so cute and adorable. And then when they run up a tree, because that's how they protect themselves. But so yeah, lots of deers. You see deers. It's a very beautiful place.
Raccoons are not friendly animals.
Yeah.
The one thing you want to do is not get between mama raccoon and baby raccoons. If you get in that situation, walk 90 degrees one way or the other so that you don't have a clear shot of the babies without you.
Very good point, yes. All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much.